Oh, this is our last exercise together. So this one's kind of a fun one. You're going to figure out ABC costing or active base costing. So there'll be a lot of number shuffling. So you're going to have to concentrate or focus really well. And let's start with the first one. And I'm going to show you the first one. I'll give you an overview here. Here's the first activity. And once we accomplish that, then I'll let you do the second one by yourself because it's very similar to that one. Then we're going to move on and we will do, I think there are 4 more activities, but each one will build on the other. So I think you'll have fun with this. So let's look at number 1. They manufacture chrome bumpers, and they've identified 4 manufacturing activities: material handling, machine setup, insertion of parts, and finishing. And the budgeted activity costs for 2010 and their allocation bases are as follows. You have $6,000, and that's allocated by the number of parts. You've got machine setup, 3,000, number of setups. Insertion points, 54,000, number of parts, and finishing, 80,000. Yeah, 80,000, and it's finishing direct labor. So that's the allocation base. And it's going to produce 1,000 bumpers, and the bumpers are expected to use 3,000 parts, 20 setups, and it's going to consume 2,000 hours of finish time. These 3,000 parts will be used for 2 allocations, material handling and insertion points, so keep that in mind. So now we bring down these numbers right here and get it set up in your template. So now you're going to take material handling and divide it by the 3,000 parts, which will give you per part allocation. You will take the machine setup and you will divide it by 20 setups. And that will give you 165 per setup. You will take insertion points, okay, 54,000, and you will divide that by 3,000. Right here, 3,000, because these two have the same allocation points, and come up with $18 per part. And finally, you'll take the finishing. There's 2,000 hours, and it'll be $40 an hour. So that gives you allocation rate. Got that? So remember, each of these are divided by their appropriate allocation base. So now you're going to come down here, and you're going to compute the indirect manufacturing cost of each bumper. So the quantities of cost allocation bases per bumper are, you've got 3,000 parts, 3,000 parts, and it's divided in by 1,000 bumpers. So you have to figure out how much you're going to use for each bumper here. So we're going to use 3 parts for and you're going to use 0.02 setups divided by 1,000, and finishing direct hours for each bumper is going to be 2 hours per bumper. So we're kind of getting down the details. So now, how much is this bumper going to cost us? Well, material handling, it said, I think we came up with $3 there. Or $2 there. So our allocation rate is $2. Our machine setup is 0.02, and that was $165. The insertion point was $18 on the allocation table above, so that becomes $54 here. And the finishing is $40 an hour, remember? And that will become $80 here. And then you add it up, and that will give you total indirect costs. So you start broad, using these allocations to figure out the allocation rate right here. Then you break it down and get per part quantities. And then you multiply that out to get cost per bumper. And you're going to do the same thing here. And this sets it up. If I can find it. Oh, it's Ericsson. See how Ericsson sets up? It's the same thing, only I think they give you more information on this one. You don't have to do quite so much number crunching. They're going to give you allocation base, allocation base, and then the allocation rate here. And they're going to give you the number of parts. And then they're going to give you the budgeted data, okay? Parts per rim, setups per 1,000 rims. So you have to break that one down, so don't forget. Finished direct labor per rim, and then you have direct labor per rim. So they give you all this information, and then what you have to do is the same thing as we did above. And if you'd like for me to get you started here, this says you have okay, so this says you have your allocation rate for material handling is $6. So that will go right there, right? You're going to bring all those numbers down. 600 per setup, right? And the insertion part of parts was 24. And the finishing was $30. Now, what do I do with this, okay? So material handling is based on what? Number of parts. So we're going to do 1,000 of them, and each unit, or each rim, one has 5 parts and the other has 7 parts. So what's my total parts? I'm going to take 1,000 times the parts. So we've got 1,000 times 12, the 5 and the 7 added together. So then you have 12,000, right? The machine setup, what are you going to do with that? Well, let's go up here. Each one of those takes 15 per rim. So that's going to be 30. If we add those two together, the insertion of points is going to be the same as material handling, right? Number of parts. And then your finishing is going to be, what does it say here? We've got 3 and 4.5, so we're going to add those two together. And that's going to, multiply that times 1,000. It's going to give us 7,500. And then you will just multiply that out to come up with the indirect costs. And then we come down here. Oh my, it's kind of getting out of, let's see if I can help this at all. I don't think I can. You can if you shut it off and start all over again. So this, I widened the screen for you. So now this is for the entire indirect. So now you're going to look at indirect per unit. So for material handlings, again, you're carrying down 6, 600, 24, and 30. And you're bringing over those cost elements from up here, 5 and 7. But now, instead of doing 1,000, we're doing 1. So you've got to divide those setups by 1,000, and you'll come up with 0.015 for each one of those. This is the same parts ratio, and this is your finishing amount. So now these numbers just get multiplied times this to come up with your allocated cost per rim for indirect manufacturing. It's very neat, isn't it? So that one you should pretty well handle. This one you're going to have to go to the book and you're going to have to read about preventive cost, appraisal cost, internal failure cost, and external failure costs. And that'll kind of give you a feeling for the total quality management programs and what to look at for those. We're going to come down and now we're going to do bookcases, which is very similar to what we've done in the previous ones. I think I will let you do that one by yourself to come up with, it's very similar. They give you numbers. You have to do allocations. I've left a few numbers in here for you already to do calculations. And down here, now remember you've got 2 books, okay? Remember there are no finishing costs for this unfinished book up here, okay? So that one's going to be blank. There's no finishing costs. I think you'll have fun with this one. Now they're going to ask you the full production cost, and then you're going to add on the desired profit to come up with the sales unit. So this one's a little more extensive from what you've been used to doing, but you can tear it down and make it work here. And again, you can always message me if you need help. And this one talks about why do I use this stuff and how. And you're going to actually do some cost analysis to decide whether adding on to the ski resort is worth it. And again, we're doing plugs and chugs, okay? The variable cost is $149, I believe. Let me see. Let me get there. What do we got? We've got $239. Oh, here's your variable cost. A lot of this is already up here. So that's $85. Then you have, this gives you, now this is a total here of those two. I guess I should, so you can remember to do that. And that gives you your average cash inflow per day. Then you're going to find the number of days, right? And then you're going to have the average net of all skiers. So that's a total also here. You're going to multiply this by the number of skiers per day to come up with the cash flow per day. And then this is the number of ski days. And that will be multiplied times this to give you the actual average annual net cash flow per year. And that's what you're shooting for. And then you're going to come down here and you're going to look at average annual operating income from the expansion. So that's going to be the cash flow minus the depreciation, right? Which you're going to get up here. You're just going to depreciate out that 12,500 minus the salvage and divide it by 12 years to get your depreciation, which is going to kind of give you an idea of the income that will be coming in on the income statement. And this will be your actual cash flow inflow. Then we're going to ask you some questions. We're going to ask you about the payback period, the amount invested. Now remember, you have to take into consideration and the amount invested, right? And the amount that the net income. That's going to give you your payback. And then the final thing you're going to look at is the annual rate of return, which is going to be, it kind of shows you right there, is the average annual operating income from the investment divided by the average amount invested. Now you're going to have to show me how this is calculated, and that's what I want you to do. Show how this was calculated. What are the numbers to come up with that? And there's a very nice formula in the book to help you. If you can't figure that out, just give me a message and I'll be glad to help you. And that is it. We did it. Good job, folks. Thank you.